All right, we are live.
Yay.
I am Chloe.
I'm Sandy.
This is Night Right.
This is Night Right. This is
Night Right.
Yeah.
I got real distracted because I saw something on my screen that I've never seen before. And I was like, what is this button? I don't have an answer for it. I just have in like my bookmark bar. At the end of it, there is something that says reading list. But like I don't have a reading list. And also it's only on one computer, not the other, even though they should be identical because it's all the same Google account. And like something that I just updated on one bar earlier today is on the other. I don't know what's going on. Sorry,
right.
y'all. I get easily distracted at this hour.
Distracted by computer gremlins. That's all right. Yeah. That's all right. What are you working on today though? Like besides computer gremlins?
I don't know. I have like all of these partial projects that are happening right now. I don't know. I'm going to keep editing until my mind says I need to go somewhere else. Like I want to write erotica because I haven't done any of my shorts in like a week and a half now. Because of crisis in my life, and like I had already fallen behind a bit. So that's really what I should do so I can start posting things again. But I don't think I'm going to.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should for the second half.
How about you, Sandy?
So I did one of those like what do they call it? Eisenhower chart, like the very important urgent like matrix thing. Because I felt like my projects were overwhelming. Is this like something to
organize how many projects you have by order of importance? Is that
Yeah. Something to help you like figure out what you absolutely have to do and what you could just ditch. And I think I need to finish my cover info sheet for the book cover project that's coming up. But I've got a lot of work done on that, so I might be able to get decently far on that today. And then I'd like to get another chapter in my Vella project, at least read, because I have a project also that I'm editing, and I think I have a chapter that's semi-written, so I need to at least read that chapter and see what I can fix it. Yeah. Oh, I just opened Scrivener and I got a could not load document. Why not? Why can't you load document?
Really lately.
That's weird.
Just try it again. That's my advice for that.
Oh, it's a bunch of them.
It's a bunch of things that are not opening?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I would absolutely reboot Scrivener.
Yeah, this is bad.
All right. Well, let's leave you to the privacy of fighting with your computer and do our first 10-minute sprint.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to go for 10 minutes. We'll be doing 20s after this one, but we're going to start with a 10 and we will go from there. So we'll see you guys at quarter after. Okay, that is time. Were you able to get any work done, Sandy?
That's time. I was definitely caught up in what I was doing, and no, yes, I got work done.
You got something done if you were caught up in it.
Yeah, I'm clearly thinking. So the thing I need to do, like the biggest thing I need to do, is write the blurb for the back of this book.
Okay.
Having not at all outlined the book, or thought out really what the rest of.
Isn't this kind of your writing strategy, though? I thought your strategy was to write a blurb and then write the novel.
Yeah, no, it is actually. This is exactly how I like writing, because I feel like if the blurb isn't interesting, then I don't have a solid enough idea of what the book should be to actually start writing it. Like the blurb really helps me, hone in on what I should be focusing these stories on. And I'm writing, a ridiculous epic saga that some people are following along with. So I need to decide what things my, couple of readers who are sticking with me will actually love. And this is an interesting one because I had written up to the end of the third book, and I was happy with that. And then the fourth book and on, I don't have nearly as much written. It's all sort of up in the air. So I could take this in many directions.
Now's the time to decide that direction.
Now is that time. What about you? How are you doing?
I ended up, why did I do this? There was totally a reason. I ended up editing the story that I wrote for that Pride Month project that I am joining in on. I wrote the story the other day, and so now I'm editing it, and then hopefully sometime this week I'll have it recorded, and then it'll be done and out of my life, so I won't have to stress about actually getting it done.
Wait, so tell us about the Pride project, because I don't think I probably have time to write any additional stories for anything, but so
the deal with it is it's just like a bunch of author tubers. Whoever wants to join can. Okay. But we're all just putting together. The videos are 15 minutes at max, which 15 minutes is a little over 2,000 words if you're reading at the pace that you should be reading at. It's like 2,300, I think it is. But so it's just little short stories that have some sort of a pride theme to them. They're not necessarily romance. Mine, of course, is a romance because it's what I write. And it doesn't have to be a story if you want to do a poem or a song or whatever. I know somebody is writing a little memoir thing about her daughter. So, because her daughter is autistic and ACE. So it's whatever you want, but it's just a little short piece that you record. If you want to do just a single image on your screen so people don't have to look at you, that is fine. You don't have to do anything crazy with the actual video. It just has to have some sort of a pride theme.
I have a hard time with stuff like this. I don't know if I'd have time for it, but let's say I did. I'm a straight ally, right? And
yeah, if you watch Charlie Dorset's video about it, you are the last person that he lists. He lists everybody else, and he's like, and also straight allies, you're absolutely welcome to join.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of hard to know if you should join stuff like that, or if he
absolutely says you can join. You're again the last person mentioned, but you are absolutely welcome to join.
It's. I feel like in these situations, I'd like to, if I have time, I'd like to find a way to join, but in not a way that would be obnoxious.
I'm just going to put it out there that my characters, it was going to initially be two lesbians, and now one of them is trans. And it's absolutely not something that I come even close to identifying as. But thank you for posting that, Devin.
Thank you, Devin.
But yeah, that was, I ended up having a trans character in mind.
What could I do for this?
And And I mean, it could just be because I'm coming off of this 100 short stories in 100 days. But when you were talking about 2,000 words, that's nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing. Well, it's nothing unless you're having a hard time getting your 10,000 word novella written. And like then 2,000 is actually kind of an enormous, if that's taken you 2 years, then.
Well, so by that, and obviously, like, if you don't have time, you don't have time. This isn't like pushing you. This is just devil's advocate on it. But like when you're talking about under 2,000 words, you're probably talking about a single scene. Or like mine is kind of this, like, I mean, the actual active moment is basically a single moment in time where my character is reviewing their past that brought them up to this moment. And then just like, it's the fear that they have been seeing this woman, kind of using this woman as a beard, so to speak. And the woman says, I know what you are. And they're stuck dwelling on what does that mean? Because they can't possibly know this whole backstory. And have they figured out the gender issue? And, just like the whole wondering of what it is. And then ultimately it's the other character saying that she understands that this character is biologically a woman who, is trans, is a trans man. So, and that she is absolutely good with that and would like them to have a future.
It's a story of acceptance
and
love.
Yeah, it's absolutely a romance. It is a clean romance because it's for YouTube. And I'm not really sure how far their community standards go, but yeah, so, but again, it's that issue of if you're looking at under 2,000 words, you're not doing more than one or two scenes.
Yeah, no, it's a very, what am I going to do for this? This is going to percolate in my brain. I feel like
you have a month to do it, right?
Your month goes by really fast in my world. But I think it's a really clever idea, and I feel like these are important things to support. At the very least, I'll promote it, right? But if I can figure out what to do, it's actually, honestly, I'm not sure there are, like, in the writing community. I think it's actually a very diverse community. Like you'd be surprised how many people do not identify as just plain old straight allies. Like,
yes.
There are people like that. They're all over the place. They're presumably the majority, but you don't hear about it because there's nothing interesting about it. So like, no one wants to hear my story as a straight ally.
It's fine. Because it's not, well, I mean, it depends on your story. Your story could literally be about a straight ally. Again, we've got a woman writing about her daughter who is an autistic ace. And I don't know if she identifies as something other than straight. I just, like she's not coming from the perspective, though, of somebody who is LGBT plus. She's coming from the perspective of an ally, whether she is herself or not. So yeah, there are ways that you can do it, that if you want it to be a story about your relationship within this community, that's also fine. But if you want it to be a story about someone coming out or whatever, you can do that too.
Does pride
if you can write a male character and you're not a man, then you can write a gay character.
Does pride encompass like the kink community or no?
So for this aspect, I would say no.
Okay.
But part of the pride community is accepting everybody who is accepting.
Right.
So like certainly there is a lot of kink within the pride community.
So actually, like I randomly end up meeting a lot of people in the kink community, right? Because I'm a writer. So like this is the place that writers show up. But my experiences with anybody who would associate I don't like it. Can you say God, I'm so bad at this. Like, can I say queer now? Am I supposed to say LGBTQ?
I mean, I'm well, the Q stands for queer. So.
The Q stands for queer, so I can say LB. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be uninclusive, and I feel like I'm constantly behind. But this is partially because in my life, it's not actually been a huge issue. Like, I constantly know people who identify as like gay or lesbian or bisexual. I had my college roommates, my like suite mates were, I think one was a lesbian, one was bisexual. This never bothered me, but it was no big deal, right? And I don't know what issues they might have gone through because of this, but in my world, this was just normal. Like, just a normal. There is nothing strange about this. So I have a very poor sense of what struggles might exist today, right? Even though I'm very aware that there are struggles, and I'm one of those people who like could be happy making friends with anyone, but so that doesn't make me interesting. I don't know. I don't want to be a lawyer. Man, I worry about this stuff. I don't want to mess up anyone else's high parade.
Right.
Okay.
So I will also put this out there. My story takes place in Oklahoma Territory. Might takes place in the 19th century. So that is also an option that you can go with a different timeline for it.
I should consider.
Yeah. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that like your arguments don't hold water.
No.
It is you know, getting a bigger picture. If you are worried about that particular element messing you up, then do something that isn't that part.
Yeah, no, and I don't mean them as arguments. I mean, I'm trying to think about what I should do that could be supportive and not offensive and supportive. Yeah. Let's go with that. All of those things.
Let's do a sprint too.
I feel like I could write poetry about this.
Poetry is an option.
I might do this.
Not for me, because I'm terrible at poetry, but poetry is an option. So we're putting 20 minutes on the clock. It is 8:27, so we'll see you guys at 8:47. Okay, that is time. How'd you do, Sandy?
Oh, I'm totally distracted now writing stuff for the Pride Month thing.
Did you come up with a concept?
Yes, it is
Awesome.
definitely going to be poetry.
Awesome.
Yeah. But like, snap poetry, because I can't do actual rhyming stuff. That's
Oh, no, that's fair. I also cannot do that. And the funny thing is, because you know my writing style already, and the fact that I'm going to be reading this out loud, ours are probably not going to be too far apart, even though I'm going to call mine prose.
Wait. Ours aren't going to be. Wait, oh, sorry. You're calling.
Well, I mean, like the style. The style. If you were doing snap poetry,
yeah,
and I'm just doing prose the way I normally do prose, writing it to be a little bit better for reading out loud. You see what I'm saying now, right?
I do. Yeah. I gotta find the right music for this. I need a musical background for sure. Like,
you don't have to have musical background, but you can.
I think I need it. I think I definitely need it. Oh my gosh, the kitty back there is in such a ball of cat right now.
Yeah, he's finally. I don't know how well you can see it, but they had to shave his little wrist.
Yeah. That skinny little leg.
Boot with the fur now.
Yeah.
Look at that. Do you see that boot with the fur?
Oh
my God, it's so adorable. He had to go because he had a catheter. They had to put him on a IV as well. So he came back. He came home with like a little rally band. And now it's just shaved fur. Okay, so during that sprint, though, Keenan had a question, and Keenan kind of worked it out for himself, but he still wanted to discuss it some.
Oh, Keenan had a whole discussion with himself. Keenan, we appreciate that.
No, that's absolutely fair. I was going to tell you that. Don't apologize for that spam. I'm glad that you are seeing other options here, because there was like a good and a bad in your question, at least from my perspective on it. But I also wanted Sandy's on it. Okay. So the question is...
Oh, I messed up a thing. What did I mess up?
You did. It's okay. The question is 9,121 words, 24 pages, too long for a chapter?
Yes, it's far too long. Break that shit up. Okay, that's...
Sandy has had a glass of wine. However, first of all, it is fantasy. And I will say with fantasy, you can be more flexible with those chapter lengths. Fantasy readers are used to bulkier chapter lengths, right?
Okay, yes, I'm sure that they are. But I mean, okay, look, fantasy readers are used to bulkier books. Like, if what you're going to say to me is your book is 150,000 words or something like that, or it's 200,000 words and like it's going to be 800 pages, is that okay? Like, you might not be able to get that traditionally published right away, but as far as like indie publishing, go for it. Like, you just go right ahead and do that. Make sure to price it for the amount of words that you wrote. But I think the thing is, a chapter length is different from like the amount of words that a fantasy reader will tolerate. So I mean, when you divide up your chapters, you're dividing up ideas, like you're trying to help the reader distinguish between like one place and another. And I feel like if you've got 9,000 words on like one particular thing that's happening, then maybe you haven't, like, maybe it would be worthwhile to go back and say like, why did this get to be 9,000 words? One exception. If it's a sex scene, all bets are off. Okay.
I was just going through Girlfriend by the Hour, which is a BDSM erotic romance that I wrote. And like, I absolutely have that 6,000 word sex scene that is then followed up by another 5,000 words of arguably sex scene.
Yeah.
Even though I guess technically neither scene is there like penetration. But like anyways, not the point here. I was hoping at some point in my life I had a copy of A Game of Thrones living near my desk. And I couldn't find it, but I have a feeling that has monstrous chapters in it.
But that's George R.R. Martin. He gets away with things.
Well, that's also fair. But I just wanted to point out that, like, with fantasy, sometimes depending on how it's structured, that could also make a difference. If it is a whole bunch of scenes within that 9,000 words or within that chapter, it might not be so bad. So there are a lot of different elements. That 9,000 is certainly, like, you are pushing hard, but isn't necessarily a full-on rejection. However, it is the first chapter, and the reason you want to do this is to introduce the world, and that is not right. So Sandy is also disagreeing with this. You don't. So now again, by this, I don't know. When you say introduce the world, if what you're saying is you're introducing like all of the fantasy elements of it, or if you mean that you've got like 10 different main characters, again, like a Game of Thrones type thing, and you're trying to introduce all those 10 characters, or what specifically you mean. And I think as I went down and read you working through it, it looked like a lot of it was just introducing different characters and different parts of the world, or just like within a family, but I wasn't sure if they were together or not. But just a good rule in general with first chapters is you don't want to use the first chapter to introduce the entire picture. You want your first chapter to be the hook that gets the reader in. A lot of times they'll say that you need it to be an action chapter. You want to be careful with that. You don't want to throw like a fight scene in at the beginning just to like have that action chapter. But it does need to be a more active, a more interactive chapter than just developing the entire world. And that is my tidbit on it. And I do know that you like worked through quite a bit, and you seem to have already committed yourself to splitting this up. But just to like put it out there, just some things to think about. Sandy, anything additional from you on that?
No, but I think that's really good advice. And I think that if you're like whenever you hear yourself say, I want to introduce the world, like that should be a huge red flag that what you're about to do is a bunch of like expedition. You're about to dump a bunch of information at people. You don't want to introduce the world. You want to introduce the character and why the reader cares about them. And then like that world, which clearly is extremely rich, or you wouldn't want to introduce it in the first chapter or so, right? Like you must have a world to introduce. So like, you really got to trust yourself as a writer and assume that like as you introduce the characters that you're like so creatively coming up with, you will be able to introduce the parts of the world that the reader needs to know about. Like spread it out, because readers can't take all of it at once.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel like that is kind of where you worked it out, that you're just going to split it up into 4 chapters. Oh, I see what you're saying. The Prince and Princess could cover chapter 1, Younger Brother and Older Sister chapter 2, Lesbians chapter 3, and Evil King chapter 4. So yes, if your original plan was to put all 4 of those different aspects of your world, which I know in a previous thing you had said that the lesbians were in a different kingdom. If you had wanted to put them all together in the first chapter, but geographically they are not together and they're not the same perspective, obviously, you don't want to do that. You want them to be different. You want those to be spread out across different chapters. Sandy has a thought.
I do, but look at, just even the difference there, right? Like you say, maybe the Prince and Princess could cover chapter 1, and that's instantly more interesting than I'm going to introduce the world in chapter 1. Mm-hmm. Because even though Prince and Princess is utterly generic to us, I still care more about them than I do about world. Like it's just so that's a really good way to think about it. Yeah. It's like, who am I introducing, not what am I introducing?
And because I read historical romance, Younger Brother and Older Sister also vaguely intrigue me, because like I'm used to like those shitty dynamics of like what happens to younger brothers and older sisters out in the world. Yeah, so hopefully that helps you some on on figuring that out and like going forward with your chapters. But we also, as Sandy did point out, George R.R. Martin can get away with a lot of stuff because he's George R.R. Martin. If you are indie publishing, or even traditionally publishing, I would say most likely it's going to be the same thing because you're not an established name. That you really do want to aim for readability. And readability means chopping it up into smaller chunks.
Yeah,
with shorter chapters is going to be more readable.
And like addictability, right? You want to hook your readers so hard that they have to keep reading. So yeah, make them feel that they need to get to the next chapter. Anyways, like if you had 9,000 words and they got through 3 chapters and like that happened in, an hour or something, they could be like, oh my gosh, I couldn't set it down. I got through the first 3 chapters in an hour.
Yeah.
That's a selling point. Right, we should do the writing thing. Yeah, let's do this. Okay.
So we're going to do another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It is 8:58 here in Atlanta. So we will see you guys at, oh God, it just flipped over. We'll see you guys at 9:19. Okay, that was time. Were you able to get some work done, Sandy?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I might have the start of a blurb.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have the start of a short story.
It was very, very good.
Productivity. This is the first time I've actually like written words in a week.
Wow.
Other than blurb. I did write a blurb this week, and that like more than exhausted myself. Keenan, that was 20 minutes. That was how long that sprint was.
Blurbs are exhausting to write. Wow, formatting a book is exhausting to write, Keenan. I mean, although formatting is like a fun kind of exhaustion, like it's a.
I feel like that depends on the person, though. I agree for myself, but just like some authors prefer the writing and some authors prefer the editing. I feel like you got to be the right kind of person to enjoy formatting. I enjoy formatting, but also I have gotten stuck in like fresh nightmare hell so many times in formatting a book where I'm like, I just wasted like 8 hours of my life for this dumb shit. Why did this happen?
Yeah. That's. I've done that. I've wasted way more than 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's that whole thing. But we are both being productive tonight, which is good.
Yes.
So that's a wonderful thing.
Yes. And actually, I just realized that I have to write like a couple blurbs for something else. So I should probably do that on the next sprint. They're just like 30-word blurbs, but I was supposed to do this a week and a half ago, and I haven't yet. So
honestly, like the short ones are the hardest ones to write, right? Because you have to figure out what you're really going to focus on.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of ways, I feel like this thing I'm writing right now is actually fairly easy. It's like a 4th book. No one's even going to read this blurb unless they already like the series.
Right. That was my issue with the last blurb that I had to write because I have gotten so spoiled with working on like the last first book in a series that I had come out was December of 2019.
Whoa.
Because it was Clara. Clara was the last first book in series that I had come out.
Oh my God, that was so long ago.
Right. And then this last book that is coming out next month is a standalone novella that takes place in that same verse, but it is a series lead-in. So like this one does have to be that like first book in series blurb as well. And yeah, stress again. Wow, and I hate the blurb, but like isn't that always the way?
Yeah, because you can't ever feel good about a blurb, right? Like there's no possible way you ever get it right. It can always be refined to be better. And
also I feel like the more right I feel about it, the more wrong it is.
Yeah.
Like my entire Shifter series that everybody hates, that I'm like, I love this series. Why does everybody hate it? But everybody hates it.
Oh, I mean, but like blurbs in particular, like for me, I feel like in some cases, the faster I write it, the better. Like if I can just like spit it out fast and not think hard about it, then it was probably fine the first time. Like my instincts were probably fine and I probably needed to just go with that. But you don't ever go with your instincts with a blurb, right? Because you're so convinced that you have to revise it until it's perfect, and revising it beyond like what you find exciting will either make it amazing or like take it over that hill that goes from like amazing to like trash again.
Yes. So you're complete gibberish.
Yeah.
And then like I feel like most of the guidelines out there are just straight up incorrect.
Yeah.
Like whenever you see is it 250 to 350 words?
Yeah,
that was like the traditional length of it. You will get absolutely roasted for a 250 word blurb because it's so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would depend on your genre, though. I feel like if you're writing fantasy, or high fantasy, you could probably get away with a longer blurb, but those readers are willing to stick with you for longer words. Like your romance stuff, absolutely. You need to people need to know what you're writing and like this amount of
why
space.
This person's effed up. This is why that person is effed up. They're gonna bang. Like,
yeah, yeah, or to maybe like to put it like, yeah. This is his baggage. This is her baggage. This is why they'll fall in love.
I mean, yeah, I guess we could phrase it that way.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's all fine.
Yeah.
If you're with us, let us know what you're working on right now. We are always happy to express our unsolicited opinions or solicited opinions.
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, but I think I might actually. Oh no.
Oh no. I heard that.
Did you hear that?
I did.
That was the sound of a crying baby. That means he has a bib that says roar means I'm hungry. It's so accurate.
You know what that means?
That means, yeah. Yep.
So we are going to do a 20. We'll see how things go on Sandy's end, whether we'll be doing another 20 after this one or not. But let's do this 20 and we'll see where we go from there. We'll see you guys at quarter of, excuse me. Oh, come on, start there. All right, we are back. How things go, Sandy?
The baby is fed. I thought I was going to be late. Like my computer had timed out and everything.
Oh, no.
And I was like sure that like the whole thing was over, but no, I stepped in right on time. What about you?
I wrote these 2 little blurbs that I needed. They're actually for one-on-one sessions that I am going to be hosting in that little virtual con that I'm doing next month. So I had to write blurbs about what they are. They're supposed to be 30-word blurbs, roughly 30 words. One of them is 42, which I feel okay about. The other is 58, so I'm going to be editing that in our next sprint. Are we doing another sprint? Are you good to do another one?
Let's do one more. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, that's what I did. And again, she asked these from me like 2 weeks ago. And then life did what it does. And then like I reached out to her. It was before the cat got sick, but it was so it was like 3 or 4 days before the cat got sick. And like she had asked me a few questions and I was like, okay, here are the answers to all the other ones. And I need to think about these blurb things because life and blurbs. And then the cat got sick. And then there was a point during all of that I reached out to her and was like, hey, this is going to sound insane, but can you send me a couple sample blurbs because I'm having this issue right now, and so I just can't think. So if you just give me a couple sample ones to have some direction for my brain to go in, that would be great. And she did. And then the day after was when he had to go back to the vet.
Oh, of course. That's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah. And then, he's actually been feeling well. He stopped his medicine on Sunday. Monday, he was a little rough. And then the last 2 days, he was good. He was sick this morning, but it was a hairball. And that's what happens every time he gets sick because he like overcleans himself, because he makes a mess of himself and then he overcleans himself and then hairball. But ever since then, he's been really good. It just like everything flittered right out of my brain. And then we did Renfest on Sunday. So that was another like whole day of not getting anything done. And then also a day of recovery because I was broken from Renfest.
Is it a Renaissance festival?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Georgia one. It was it's still going on, but it is currently happening. And Chris and I and his fiance and his roommate went.
Fun.
Also, I'm going to be in the wedding party. I found out. I was not asked. I was told, but that is told.
That's awesome.
It was really funny because we're like driving home from the Red Fest and we're all like exhausted. And it was so flipping hot this weekend. And out of nowhere, Chris just says something to me and I'm like, what? And he's like, you're in the wedding party. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Are they going to make you wear like a bridesmaid dress?
I have no idea what's going to happen with that.
That's so stressful. I feel like that's stressful. It's been a long time since I've dealt with weddings. And like, I don't really want to go back to that time.
So this is a gay wedding. So that changes things. And it's going to be at the Botanicals.
Okay, that's nice.
Yep. And Sierra is his roommate, Sierra, is one of the other bridesmaids, or I guess
whatever you're going to call them.
Automatically. Wedding party is the correct term. There are no brides.
The other attendants.
Lesbians of honor is what we are calling ourselves now. Because there was also that conversation and he's like, well, it's you two and this other girl. but like I can't designate one of you as, because like I feel bad about like designating one of you as being the like of honor. And I'm like, it's okay. I've read enough reverse harem to know that we can all have that same position. But anyway, Sierra is as well. Sierra is about to move to Providence, where she has no idea where her future is going to lead.
Wow.
So she was actually my bakery manager at Delk, at that nightmare. That was the store that I was at from Thanksgiving to Easter.
Yeah, okay.
So she stepped down because of that store as I fled that store. We did it at the exact same time.
Wow.
She was actually the reason that I got stuck there longer than I should have. It's not her fault, but like we were both like, this is what we're doing. And they dealt with her first and ignored me.
Right.
Yeah. So in no way her fault, but she's the reason that I was there an extra month past when I should have been. But anyway, so she and their other roommate, there's 4 of them, Chris and Mike, and then Sierra and Sarah, living at their apartment right now. Sierra and Sarah are just gonna go on an adventure up to Providence. So yeah. But like she's a Publix employee and there are no Publixes in Providence. So and like I didn't want to stress her by being like, what the fuck are you gonna do? But I'm 40 and she's 27. And certainly when I was 27, I just up and moved to Atlanta. So, I know that. I have done that before. But the reason I bring up all of this is who knows where her life is going to be in another year. Like, her life in another year is absolutely going to be down here at Chris and Mike's wedding, but
who knows where else?
Finances might be like a total nightmare. Like we were literally talking about that with Chris being like, you know, like if you need a plane ticket, I will buy your plane ticket. You're going to be here. She's like, no, I'm fine. She was talking about how she's not going to be able to do the like little lead up stuff that, you know, if you're
expensive lead up stuff,
right, that if your wedding party is local they do, but if your wedding party is not local they don't do it. So she was just trying to say that, and Chris misunderstood it as like worried that she wasn't going to be able to afford to come to the wedding, and she's like, no, I got that. Also, we've already decided that it's going to be the 3 lesbians of honor staying at his apartment for that weekend, since they'll have like a hotel room wherever doing the, you know.
Great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just going to be lesbians taking over the gays' apartment for the weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah. We've got this all planned out. I don't know what's going to happen with my cat that weekend. That's okay. Can't make me go on a road trip depending on where I'm living at the time. But yeah, so that has been my part of my adventure for the week.
That's fun. That's fun adventure stuff.
Yeah. That was good.
I like that.
And then he got like just drunk enough. Like we went to dinner afterward. I don't know. It sounds like you've never been to Renfest before.
I may have been to like a Renaissance festival in Michigan once or twice a decade ago or so. It's been a while.
So a real common phenomena that I think like everybody goes through with it is that you will spend all day eating, and then the moment you get into the car to leave, you're like, what the fuck are we doing for dinner? I need dinner right now. Like it's like that food just doesn't do anything while you're there. It's delicious, like weird ass, you know, carnival food. But it doesn't actually. It's not actual food. And now so we went to dinner afterward. We're like, Chris got real drunk, which was delightful. And I was like, I'm so worried about all of you, and I don't want you to leave me, but I know you gotta leave me. Like,
aww.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris does not show Chris doesn't show his feelings that much, so it was adorable.
That's so adorable. Also a
Yeah.
very feel-good kind of thing to have happen.
Mhm.
I am now looking up the North Carolina Renaissance Festival specifically to find out what it is that they eat.
Oh, so for us, there's at the Georgia one, there is a tea house. So we always do that, and they've got like I always get there's a like fruit and cheese and cracker board that I always get at that. And then they've got the like everything on a stick vendor and all of the like random fried food vendors. And I always get Dole Whip at it.
Yeah, like I'm currently looking at the list of feast like royalty.
There's a lot of like candy stuff at it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. This feels great. Although, and I mean, so, this is clever. Like, there's the king's nuts,
oh yeah.
the crown jerky cart.
The everything on a stick plate, like most of it is like banana on a stick and key lime pie on a stick, but then there is steak on a steak.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, I see that. Okay.
It is a ridiculous thing. Chris and I have been going together for years, and we've narrowed it down. It's like the tickets are like $15. So it's just kind of like a day thing. It's not that expensive. People do like a lot of crazy things at it, but for Chris and I, what we always do is there is a show on birds of prey. So we get to see like falcons and condors and owls and eagles. And then there is a glass blowing exhibition where the guy just like shows us how to blow glass. And then there is some acrobats that we really like and the tea house. And that's what we do every year.
I do think that like the entire, what do they call it? The Society for Creative Anarchism. Like I think the whole like Renaissance society is very cool, and that they're living an awesome fantasy life.
Yes.
That nobody else.
And there's also like a lot of people watching because a lot of people go in costume.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I think I put this in the same category as I put like regular state fairs. It's like another place where I could go and eat stuff that I probably shouldn't eat.
I will say
stuff that I probably don't need.
For you, one of the reasons that I like to do the bird show and the glass show is that if you are writing fantasy or historical, it is educational as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one of the things, like definitely, especially with the glass show. Like I am paying attention to everything because like I'm gonna need to know how to do this someday.
Oh, if they have like sword fighting of any kind, then that's
amazing. They have like the medieval times jousting thing.
Yeah.
We don't normally go to that because we just go to medieval times, but
we should do our last sprint.
We should. Yeah. So, oh yeah, it is 9:59 right now. So 20 minutes on the clock. We're gonna go until 10:19, and then we will say goodbye to you all. Okay, that is time. And that was our final sprint. Did you get any work done in that, Sandy?
I finished I finished the first draft of the blurb, so now I'm going to set it down and mess it up, at a later time. What about you?
I did that little edit that I needed to get those things under 40 words, which I feel like is close enough to 30 words for what it is. Oh, hey, Herb. Yeah, we are closing up for the night, unfortunately. But yeah, so I got those edited down, and then I found the appropriate several days later SpongeBob meme to attach to them and sent them where they needed to go.
Excellent.
And I wrote about 100 words.
You were productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm good.
And now that's the end of our evening. These days go by. These times go by fast, like so fast.
They do.
That's okay. At least we got some stuff done. Oh, thank you, Devin, for posting the more streams. We always appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and hi to her. Sorry that you missed most of us. I have to go, guys, because I have to sleep so I can take care of the baby tomorrow. But thank you so much for being with us if you were here.
Thank you, guys.
Is that it? Is that our closing remarks? Are we good?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.